I'm right. On Food, another food special. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese. And Joe, of course, we call you Jersey Joe. And
right.
We're always on the go, and you got me to Jersey here today. We're very excited for this episode.
Yes, we are very, very excited. Special shout out to a very good friend of ours, Mr. Tom Lavecchia, for helping us tip us off to this place.
Yeah.
We're very, very happy to be here. The reason why he calls me Jersey Joe is because I used to live in Jersey City, kind of by the light rail over here, so I know this area quite well. Very happy. We have a very special guest today. We are at 87 Sussex here in downtown Jersey City, and we welcome the head chef, Brian Walter, to the show. Brian, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Very unique setup over here we got over here, but first of all, how are you?
Great. I'm loving this. You know, I love to share my food with everybody, and I get to do it today, so let's go.
We're going to do some food sampling later on, but let's start with your story first, Brian. Before you ended up being the executive chef here at 87 Sussex, when was the first time you remember, what age were you approximately when you started cooking?
14 years old, I was a dishwasher, and I got the opportunity to work for this incredible chef. He had just come from a restaurant called Les Spinasse. He was one of the sous chefs there under another chef called Grey Coons. So it was an awesome lineage. I was just learning about culinary arts at the time, and he let me start prepping. And then sooner or later, I was doing the lunch at the country club, and then later on, he sent me to New York.
So when did you decide, okay, I want to make a career out of being in the culinary world, and what was your ultimate culinary training?
I gotta tell you, it was what a freedom it was when I finally found out that I wanted to be a chef. Because I was still in high school, and those are the times when you're like, my grades weren't really good, at all, pretty much. So it was like, running out of things to root for, to shoot for, and I found something that I could do and I was good at, and that I could learn, and it's really rewarding as you practice culinary arts, how you can see your hands getting better, you're developing your palate, you're developing your smelling, and the chefs are doing all the creative stuff. You're kind of just the nuts and bolts, but you're watching them, and I'm watching them, I'm like, I can do that, I know I can do that. So it was a freedom, if anything. And then in New York, it's at that time, and I guess it was 98, 99. It was a little bit wild. It was an interesting time to be in New York City. It was yeah, exactly. A bunch of things happened after that. It was like right when, Anthony Bourdain's book came out, which, kind of struck, a lot of restaurants in a good way, but also in a bad way, because it was, now we all love him, but at the time we're like, why is he telling all our secrets? Like, who is this guy? And you've just seen New York change and develop since then. But as a matter of fact, you also see the Michelin star restaurants. Most of them are the same guys that had the 4 stars New York City had with the New York Times, Danielle, Bernadine, Jean-Georges, all those guys are still there rocking, which is really, really, I'm proud of them, and I'm really happy they're doing it.
So my buddy here, Joe, he claims to be great in the kitchen. All right, so Joe's got some signature dishes, right?
Yes,
Joe, so of course, we want to know about your signature dishes, not necessarily here, but something you really particularly enjoy cooking.
Okay. I really enjoy cooking classical French, and I really enjoy cooking classical Italian. And really that love started from Le Cirque. And at Le Cirque, although it was a very classical French restaurant, it was owned by the Maggioni family. It's an Italian, family, and they made sure that they had the best chefs from Italy coming in. So when I was working the app station, the app was also the pasta station. Oh. So I got to really work on these incredible Italian chefs at a French restaurant. I mean, risotto just took, before you were able to make risotto on your own, it was months of being bop, like somebody behind you that, no, the heart's not there, the teeth aren't there, everything's not there. But now that I can see those teeth, I do cooking classes and I talk about it all the time. The same thing they were yelling at me, I get to now say it a nice way and show how perfect it comes out, yeah.
Now, as a chef, you love all food, right? So let's frame this question not from the perspective of like what's the dish you don't like to cook the most, but what dish do you find is very difficult or tedious to prepare for and make, but ultimately after the hard work is satisfying at the end?
It's actually a really good question. And that actually kind of, I was just thinking about, like, when you asked the last question too, it's like, when I fell in love with this career, there's a lot of other branches in this business, obviously. So sometimes I was opening steakhouses, sometimes I was opening Italian restaurants, sometimes I was at a country club, multiple country clubs. I was in New York City at a family-style Italian restaurant, executive chef at. So those tedious dishes that I really love to make, I'm not always able to make them. So here, I am able to make them. So you do have, one of the dishes I'm going to show you today is the rose petal ravioli. I mean, it's just so awesome. It's so rewarding to actually put it out. They look like little roses. It was an R&D for quite some time, and to keep the color red and all this other stuff. Foie gras terrines, those things. It's a little bit tedious. You gotta, or pulling oxtail, but the reward is out there, and it's funny, and it's well worth the work for sure.
George, you're gonna take your next hot date here.
Absolutely. All the lovely ladies out there. All I know is my mom likes ravioli, so who's gonna like ravioli too? Based on Walter's description.
Oh, absolutely. We'll do a tasting menu, and when I invite my friends here, and hopefully you guys are my friends now. I always come out. We go through the menu, and it's easy to become my friend. Just say hi. They were friends, And we'll do a tasting menu, and that's really what I love to do now.
Inside the bar, have a couple of mixed drinks, come sit down at the very, very nice area to eat over here, and we have an upstairs area too. So I don't know what the next question you're going to ask is, but you mentioned getting into different types of businesses before you got into this. What goes into scoping out the right location for a business, the interior space, right? Describe that process too.
Again, it's been a long journey. I was executive chef in 2004. So, and as we all know, the economy's changing, people have changed. I mean, this is one of the most unique times in culinary arts or restaurant business in general, I think it all started, and just to kind of just go into it for a second, the restaurant business you knew was never going to be the same when people didn't have to go to their local pub for their buffalo wings. I kind of use that as an example because they can go boop, 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 and now they show up.
Yeah.
So, and then they don't have to go on a date either at a restaurant. So they go boop, 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 the wings and the date shows up. So how do you get them to keep coming to your restaurant? And that's what we're all working on. And that's the magic question. And each restaurant's a little bit different. But that's why my menu is completely unique to anything that is in Jersey City for sure. And if I see somebody put something on the menu that I have, I take it off immediately. And that's kind of fun. So if you want to come here, this is what we do. Everything's unique. Every dish tells a story. Every cocktail has been gone through R&D 100 times. Every dish we serve and every drink we serve is with love, for sure. And you'll see it.
So Brian, I was just the executive chef, but you have to consider yourself food scientist as well. How do you come up with all these different things for the menu? It just pops in your brain, you inspire other places, other people, as it comes together.
Well, I call the cuisine here modern French. That's what I'm calling it right now. And the reason why I'm doing it, it starts with all the classical French stuff. We're doing, the people inspired me. The chefs inspired me. Paul Bocuse, Danielle Ballou, these people inspired me. So we always have something that goes to them. Right now I'm doing the black tie from Danielle Ballou, and for Paul Bocuse, I'm doing the onion bouillon with the puff pastry and the little tiger. Oh, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. And anyway, you can taste the sherry. It's just like, I can talk about that onion soup by itself forever. But then what we do is, like, for example, the modern version of it, what I call modern French, is like, so we'll do like Thomas Keller's oysters and pearls. But that's more of a cooked dish, a creamy dish. Ours is, we make little pearls out of tapioca. That's one of the dishes too I'd like to show you guys. Use an awesome small, I like East Coast oysters, like nice small, and it just looks like it's beautiful. So that's the modern aspect of dishes at our class.
Joe, can you hear the excitement in Brian's voice?
Oh man,
menu?
You don't hear the excitement going on in my head right now.
So Brian, this is your career, this is your passion. When it comes to the holidays, everybody in your family say, "Oh, Brian's gonna cook," is it just a given?
I gotta tell you, no. as a matter of fact. One of the things that made me really fall in love with the romanticism or whatever of culinary arts was my grandmother, and then, what a great Italian cook from New York City, lived in Brooklyn, that whole story, the immigrant story, everything. And, oh man, just the smell of her house and those, what people might call stinky cheeses, but they made me know everything. And they were right next to the anchovies, they were right next to things you wouldn't be eating all the time. And it was a huge impact on my life. So I like to always say, like, when somebody says, well, why aren't there that many women chefs, or why aren't there that many chefs? It's like our job as executive chefs is really to kind of be creative with what they've already done. Those flavors that are already done, Yeah, exactly, and a lot of it, obviously a lot of Italian, but also a lot of French, a lot of like cassoulet, a duck confit cassoulet, like, wow, yummy, yummy, yummy. And this is like peasant food that you would go and have at grandma's house or whatever, So I carve. They usually have me carve the turkey, carve the ham, or I'll do something big that's like easy, that's like really rewarding, and it looks really cool, but it's so easy. Like I'll do like a crown roast with all the veg underneath, and I'm like, da-da-da, but it didn't, all I do is season it and put it in the oven. Yeah, exactly. So that's.
So you mentioned this earlier. Here,
we do cooking classes.
We'll talk about that
experience
for
people who want to join you for that.
Yeah. So one of the loves of my life right now is doing this and doing cooking classes, not engaging the customers, engaging the students, if you want to call them that, and also my staff gets to hear the kind of behind stories of all the dishes, And when I do it here at 87 Sussex, we do it where it's no work on you. You relax, you have a cocktail, I put on the show, I show you all the ingredients, we talk about each dish, you leave with some cool tricks and some good information, and we just all have fun.
Excellent.
And I love it, really love it.
So, like you mentioned at the top, Joe, we're in a beautiful spot right here in Jersey City. Glass windows, beautiful high ceiling and everything. So, how did 87 Sussex come to be, and how did you end up becoming the executive chef here?
All right, well, terrific. I mean, there is some really fun and exciting parts of this story. But how did I become the chef? With a recruiter, and I got to meet these great people. They interviewed other chefs for the job, and we just really blended. As a matter of fact, sometimes, you don't know that you're about to jump into a new venture until you really do, and it becomes so perfect. It becomes spectacular, actually, and that's what this place is. We knew we wanted it to look spectacular, but as you see the wall came into place, you're like, oh man, that looked great on paper, but now it really looks great. From even just, picking out the glasses, picking out the knives, all that other stuff. And then, obviously chefs really concerned about plates, right? Chefs always want plates, and that's because, we really want our food to be spectacular and look, wonderful. So we have all those. Now it's like, okay, let's do a tasting, and the partners here are giving me the opportunity to cook really. Go for it, Brian. It's it. Here's the tools, here's the toys. What do you need to make the best food, the most unique food in New Jersey? Go for it. And that's really been the plan from day one. So it's, kind of a chef's dream.
Yeah, well, Joe, we've been talking about the food so much.
That's right.
What do you say we try some of it, Brian?
Can't wait.
All right, bring out the food.
All right.
All right, Brian, you brought the food back, so kind of walk us through here this gourmet meal you put together for us.
All right, thanks. Welcome back, everybody. Now we got the food. So first we have our beautiful oysters and pearls. Our oysters and pearls that we had just talked about, they're so awesome. They have that acidity that you expect from a mignonette, but the beauty of the pearls, and then a wonderful Kaluga caviar that we're using for this. We also have a Cetra caviar and another Kaluga hybrid, which are awesome. Just really fantastic caviar. Now, one of my staple dishes, we're getting into those actually right now. They're right next to each other. One is the ox and the egg. That one is the oxtail. We kind of talked about the dishes that kind of take too long and, and people get frustrated with. And, and once in a while you're at a place where you can just do that. You have the team, you have the staff, you can pull that oxtail. So the oxtail's on the bottom, and then we have a beautiful quail egg ravioli to go on top. Parmigiano Reggiano, and we have a nest, which I call it because it's an egg, kind of looks like it's in a nest of fried leeks. So you have the crunchiness, the sweetness, the richness, and of course when that egg kind of falls out, it all comes together, brings it all together. And then right next to it, we have our rose petal ravioli. So the ravioli is, obviously it looks like rose petals, which is something that we really are proud of. And the bright red color comes from hibiscus. You might think it's beet, so it has this little tea kind of flavor to it. And then as it's a winter dish going into another dish, the filling might change. But right now we're doing a ricotta cheese, spinach, and chestnuts. And the chestnuts give this roasted chestnuts give this a sweetness but a crunch. Really, just super special. And it's vegetarian, right? It's got a kale pesto on the bottom of it. Well, perfect. And all right, next we have our Chateaubriand for two. So I'm very proud of this as well. So this is where the classic French comes in too, in the last two dishes we have foie gras. So right here we have our Chateaubriand, which is the center cut of the filet mignon. I usually will come out, or one of our wonderful, awesome team will come out and sauce this for you, which is our bordelaise, but it's fine without the sauce. But the bordelaise is really, really, really tight, really nice. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Anyways, roasted potatoes, and then all the veg of the season. That's the most, that we can get the freshest and the best. And as spring comes, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and the new menu items that we're going to have are just awesome. Really celebrate the season. Okay, finally, a foie gras. Now, foie gras, very classic French, although other places do it, obviously. And we're doing it so we make a spice cake on the bottom of it. You guys, this is outrageous, I gotta tell you. So you have this sweet, spicy cake, right? And then you cut through the sort of fat of the foie gras, come kind of out, right? And then you got huckleberry jam on top of it. Ooh. I give it a little swirl of a vanilla reduction. So it's a vanilla and cassis. We make a reduction with that. And that's what's on the bottom. So you really have dimension, a little crunchy salt on there too. Yum.
Wow. So
absolutely.
What goes into training the staff, your fellow cooks, to get them to be able to execute your vision?
Well, I will tell you right now, I am super blessed with an incredible staff, an awesome team. My sous chef Olivia is such a blessing. She's just really creative. She kind of gets me now. I'd say three things. She knows the real one that I'm talking about, and so we've developed into a team that can really create whatever we want. And that's the best part of working here as well, and eating here, by the way. When you come here, you're not going to experience these dishes anywhere else. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, so that's my team, and we're very proud to show you.
Awesome. So, Joe, why don't we give something a little try?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's hyping up that you need to eat here.
Yeah, the kale's on the bottom. Yeah, the kale pesto.
The kale right here.
Very good, very
So
good.
that's good. So why don't you take something, Joe?
Yes. Let's do, you know what?
There we go.
I'm a seafood guy. Seafood, I eat it.
I got his potatoes as well. The vegetables.
What's better? Sometimes you just want to come out. When it comes to our steak, we have a butcher block as well, which we change the steak. Usually it's 20-ounce bone-in steak, whether it's a Cowboy or Kansas City. Endor, awesome. Yeah, right? You taste all the things that you would expect in an oyster, but it's so, sorry, I don't want to explain it to you.
This is just incredible. What did you think of the oyster, Joe?
That was excellent.
So Brian, talk about
We'll go to the
how what goes into getting everything just to be able to cook it, sourcing all these ingredients, the meats, the vegetable medley, and all that.
Yeah, so that's, as you're becoming an executive chef, vendor relations is very important. It's key. And certain, and after, certain many years that's how you become an executive chef. You're a sous chef until you're a chef. I always say, only a chef can make a chef. Teaches you and introduces you to the other, yes, the truffle, the little truffle in there.
Oh, no. See, I didn't put too much of it, but you can kind of see it really over the dish, not in the cameras that we have. That tastes, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Brian Walter original. I'm very, very proud of that dish. It's going to be with me probably my whole life because it's so yummy and unexpected.
So I have an interesting question.
Sure.
There's an experimentation process that goes into this. Now, all of our taste buds are different. My taste buds are different than Nick's. We have different palates. There's a couple different things that we like. Obviously, you must like different things yourself. So when you're experimenting, right, who provides the definitive taste test for you? Is it family? Is it restaurant staff over here? Is it just guests that come in? I mean,
new dishes are so right now we're planning and preparing our spring menu, and a lot of the things we'll do after we R&D it in the kitchen, we'll run it as a special. One of the maybe 4 versions of it that we have in our minds that we want to do. And then we get feedback from our staff. Part of training the front of the house staff is for them to experience the food and
how often does someone say, what do you recommend?
Yeah,
They need to be able to
recommend. And when you're doing things that are not at another restaurant, you can't really bring your knowledge from other food here, right?
Yeah.
So, but we have a lot of fun with them too. Our front of the house staff is awesome as well. Like we're just blessed all around.
Great staff. That's what makes it so enjoyable working at, right?
100%. They're equally as excited about what we're doing here. And you can see it in the service.
Yeah.
They'll match the wine, they'll match the cocktails, they'll match the mocktails if you ask them to,
it's time, brother.
I'm going up with the ravioli.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I can taste
So
the
good.
biscuits. I like
I do too. You know what? You've never experienced something like this before.
Thank you very much. Very proud of that. And then the richness of the kale. So when this dish comes to our spring menu, it's going to be obviously with spring preparations, not, but I'm too in love with it to not have it on the menu in some shape or form right now.
So talk to us about that spring menu. Obviously, it's not something you just start preparing now. You've been thinking about it.
Always, yeah. You're always try to be a season ahead so that you have time to do the R&D and everything. So, communication with the farms, with the vendors, using, everything's obviously locally sourced. But we're actually really blessed in this area to have Pennsylvania right next to us and upstate New York right next to us, and then Jersey comes and blueberries start showing up and all this other cool stuff, and just wait and look forward to this. Yeah, we really are the Garden State, and the amount of farms that you can take tours of as well, and they're happy to give you whatever it may be, root vegetables, the baby vegetables, happy to give you a tour, and it's pretty awesome,
Now, having the Chateaubriand. Okay. We saw you with the salt.
Yeah.
That, to me, is making it. It's the perfect amount of salt. When people complain it's not salty enough, it's too salty, like Joe said, everyone has a crazy palate, but this is perfectly seasoned, Joe.
I happen to agree. I think it's perfectly cooked. I think it's perfectly seasoned. I prefer my steak with just little red inside, right? You don't want it too well done, but you don't want it too rare.
Yeah.
So I think it hits that perfect sweet spot. And again, the salt, that little touch before, I agree with Nick.
Brian, what do you do when a maniac comes in and is like, I want a well-done steak?
Paul, there's
I'm telling you, New Jersey Devils are playing 20 minutes away from
You know
Prudential
what?
Center. So if you want a hockey puck, you go over there.
Well, I gotta tell you, when people come in and order that, we do a couple things, maybe when I was in my 20s, it would have been a different answer. But my answer right now is my steak is a butcher block and it changes, and I make it for people where I'm going to give you the best steak by far that you're going to have anywhere else, and it's not going to have any of my tweaks to it. You know what I mean? So it's like the guy that's like, Brian, it's Thursday. I just want a steak. I don't want any of your rose petal raviolis and things like this. So that's why I have it. So if they want it well done, God bless them as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They can have it. I made the steak purposely for them to not have to deal with my they can have that. They can have it. And it's going to be the best steak you've ever had, I promise you. Because it's the best steaks you can get in the great state of New Jersey.
Fantastic.
Vegetables are very fresh as well. So Brian, in anything with the restaurant here or your life or your whole culinary career in general, what would you say has been your I'm right moment? What I mean by that, it's a time or place where you wanted to pursue something, you asked somebody for advice, that person said, Brian, it sounds like a bad idea, don't do it, it's not going to work out for you. And you said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do anyway, and in the end you will see why it is that I'm right about this, and I can tell you, I told you so.
Actually, I have it. It just popped into my mind. But, so when you go when as a kid, I was at the French consulate, right? So, and then from there, I got to move on to the other French restaurants. And at that time, there was 5 4-star restaurants. Very similar to the 5 that are 6 now. Anyways, so, but when I went there, I got there because I was at the French consulate, because I worked for a chef named Luc Pasquet, which is a master French chef. So did a lot of those people think I deserved to be there? Maybe not. Who's this kid from Jersey? I think I even used words like ricotta or monocotte or something like this, And I realized Italians do not like that, real fast.
I'll give you a pass.
Yeah. So these guys are from Milan, they're looking at me like, well, who's this kid from New Jersey? Anyways, I just, maybe there was a couple nights crying in the walk-in a little bit, but you smack yourself in the face and you show them, and now they're my colleagues. These guys, that you made once you made it through the training, now that you can grow with them in the industry. It's really cool. That's my aha moment. I did it. I showed you. You know what I mean? And I still love what I'm doing. That's the best part about it. It is.
You don't love what you're doing.
Every day
No,
drags.
Everyday drags. And
You're here now, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Time's just flying.
Time's just flying, and the customer will know if you stop caring.
Yeah.
For sure. The sauce comes a little broken. The finishing salt isn't on there, or that care of the waiter tasting the dish, knowing what's in it, being able to talk to you. You can feel when a restaurant's on its decline or it's becoming its own. Yeah.
So talk us through here, 87 Sussex, days of operation, hours of operation.
All right. Well, wonderful. So, and in the spring, we might be doing some other stuff. Now, mind you, we do lots of parties here.
Yeah.
We do lots of weddings, engagement parties, baby showers, bridal showers. It's such a beautiful place to have these things. And we're not a restaurant that's pumping out parties. So when you come here, it's just you. You get everything. You get the executive chef, you get our wait staff, you get our sommelier, you get our general manager. You have everybody at your disposal. And that really makes it, totally unique to you. But anyway, so our hours of operation are 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, Tuesday through Thursday, and then 5 o'clock to 10:30 the Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday. I think Jim's probably looking at me like, what's he doing with his hours? So those are the hours. So please, we'll see you then, and really hope so. And we might open for lunch, we're thinking about things like this. We might do brunch. We might do other things, but
over here, it tastes like a very brunch-like meal where I can come on a Saturday
I can
at 12
already see it.
o'clock, and I got mimosas.
The gears are shifting for the brunch menu. He already has it planned out.
He's got the eyebrows.
brunch events.
Right.
So already we're making our own cinnamon rolls, we're making our own Pop Tarts and fun stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, everybody loves brunch. Brunch is also supposed to be really kind of, in my opinion, really fun, fun and familiar and everything else. And to be different in brunch is not, always necessarily the easiest thing to do. You really got to try to be whimsical a little bit. That's kind of what I like to say.
Joe, we were walking in. What did you tell me about the patio area outside?
It's beautiful. Now, my father grew up down in Little Italy, right? So during the pandemic, you kind of saw those makeshift structures, the wood structures go up in the middle of the street.
Into the street. We're gonna hit by a car while eating
Right.
steak.
Over here, it's a little tight in downtown Jersey City. However, there's beautiful space in front of the restaurant, that beautiful patio space. I imagine when the weather gets warmer here in the summer months, you probably have a set of 4 or 5 tables out there, right?
And you can see the doors. We'll show you. They open.
It's also nice kind of getting into the fall season too, right, and then you see because it's dark, but all the lights are outside, you know what I mean, and all the lights on the tables. It's really, really beautiful. It's tight. It's beautiful.
Well, Brian, we want to thank you so much for having us here today and letting us taste some of the food menu. Any last words that you want to share? We always give our guests the last words.
All right. Oh, that's nice of you. That's cool. I just want to say welcome to 87 Sussex. Every once in a while, all the pieces come in together and make something spectacular. And I really believe that's the product we have here, and we'd love to share with you.
And if anyone can't guess, Brian, tell everybody the address of 87 Sussex.
It's 87 Sussex. And that's very close to the email address as well, 87sussex.com.
And what I will add is that there's good amount of parking garages down here. So if you're traveling from anywhere else in New Jersey, you're coming from Staten Island like Nick and I, maybe you're coming from Manhattan and you want to take the path in, right? There's a couple of different ways to get here. Very accessible. Again, beautiful area in downtown Jersey City. Brian, we thank you for your time. You and the rest of your staff here, the hospitality was amazing. Thank you for welcoming us. You know, we couldn't have had a better time. Obviously, me going like this doesn't really do the space justice, but the upstairs area is beautiful, perfect for parties and stuff, and Nick and I, we can't wait to come back.
All right. At your service.
There you go. That's going to do it here for this episode of You Know I'm Right, a very special food edition at 87 Sussex with Executive Chef Brian Walter. So for Brian, of course, my co-host Joe Calabrese, I'm Durst, and this has been You Know I'm Right.